When Queen Elizabeth I took her final breath, the world lost more than just a monarch. It lost a mystery sealed behind red velvet curtains and iron willpower. As her closest advisors sorted through her chambers, they expected the usual jewels, royal decrees, maybe a few private letters. What they found, however, stopped them cold. A letter not addressed, not signed, just sitting there waiting. And whatever was inside made even the steeliest men in the kingdom go silent. Was it a confession, a warning, or something darker? A truth so heavy Elizabeth couldn't bear to speak it aloud in life. To answer that, we have to go back not just a few years, but to the very day Elizabeth entered the world. It was 1533. England was a boiling pot of rumors, rebellion, and royal scandal. At the center of it all, Anne Boleyn, Elizabeth's mother, a bold, ambitious woman who had managed the impossible. She stole the king's heart from Catherine of Aragon, a queen who had ruled beside Henry VIII for over 2 decades. King Henry broke from the Catholic Church just to marry Anne. That's how badly he wanted her. But what he really wanted was a son. And when Anne gave birth to a daughter instead of a male heir, the king's love began to rot. 3 years later, Anne Boleyn was accused of adultery and treason, likely falsely, and sentenced to die. May 19, 1536. Elizabeth, barely a toddler, lost her mother to the executioner's blade. She would never see her again. But you know what's worse? Just 11 days later, Henry remarried. That's all the time it took for Elizabeth's father to move on from his queen, from his grief, from his daughter. The new wife, Jane Seymour, soon gave him what he wanted. A boy named Edward, a prince, an heir, the son he believed was worth breaking a kingdom for and beheading a queen. From that moment on, Elizabeth was no longer the precious daughter of a king. She was a political inconvenience, a girl born into power, stripped of it, then forced to survive the most dangerous court in Europe with nothing but her wit, her will, and eyes that saw everything. And when she finally took the throne, she never forgot the blood it took to get there. In the 16th century, beauty among England's elite was defined by one thing: skin as white as snow. For noble women, this wasn't just a fashion statement. It was a symbol of power, purity, and high birth. The paler the skin, the higher your status, and no one understood this better than Queen Elizabeth I. But fate would strike a cruel blow. In 1562, Elizabeth fell seriously ill. The diagnosis: smallpox, a brutal and disfiguring disease. Though she survived, it left her physically scarred for life. Her once smooth face was pitted with marks, and she suffered severe hair loss. For a queen whose image was everything, whose very power depended on how her people saw her, this was more than a personal tragedy. It was a political threat. To restore the illusion of perfection, Elizabeth turned to makeup, a thick, ghostly white cosmetic known as Venetian ceruse. It gave her that eerie porcelain glow we still associate with her today. But beneath that flawless mask, danger was quietly building. Venetian ceruse was made from white lead and vinegar, a deadly combination. The queen would apply heavy layers daily for decades, and the poison slowly ate away at her skin and health. She also used mercury-based products for her lips, and possibly even to remove the makeup. Over time, her body became a vessel for toxins. Her beauty, ironically, may have been killing her from the inside out. By 1602, Elizabeth's health was visibly failing. She withdrew from the court, grew increasingly frail, and slipped into deep melancholy. Her sadness wasn't just physical, it was emotional. She had outlived nearly all of her closest companions. The death of her dear friend Catherine Carey devastated her. But one name lingered heavier than any other: Robert Devereux, the Earl of Essex. He had once been the great love of her later years, but their relationship ended in betrayal. In 1601, Elizabeth signed his death warrant for treason. Publicly, she remained composed. Privately, she was shattered. As her final days approached, Elizabeth refused medical attention. She wouldn't even lie down, convinced that if she did, she would never rise again. For over 15 hours, she stood upright while her ladies surrounded her with pillows. On March 24, 1603, the Virgin Queen passed away at Richmond Palace, age 69, ending the Tudor dynasty and one of history's greatest reigns. We remember Elizabeth as the Virgin Queen, a ruler who declared herself married to England. But behind that title was a woman who loved deeply and suffered greatly. Robert Dudley, childhood friend and perhaps her first true love. Francois, Duke of Anjou, a political suitor she once considered marrying. And Robert Devereux, the wild, reckless favorite who broke her heart and lost his life. Despite passion, admiration, and countless suitors, Elizabeth never married. Why? Some say she feared losing power. Others say the trauma of her mother's fate never left her. Maybe she believed that by marrying no man, she could belong to her entire kingdom. Whatever the reason, she chose her throne over her heart. Her reign delivered stability, glory, and a golden age of English culture. Shakespeare thrived. The Spanish Armada fell. Exploration soared. She gave England more than her father ever had, and without a husband or heir. Anne Boleyn had been erased, but her daughter restored her legacy. Elizabeth didn't just survive history, she made it, and yet the mystery remains. As her advisors searched her chambers after her death, they found that sealed letter, written in her own hand, unaddressed, and signed. What secret lay inside? A final confession? A warning about England's future? A truth too dangerous to reveal while she lived? Was it the horrifying admission that the very makeup she wore, the white mask of power, had been poisoning her for decades? Or was it the one thing she refused to declare publicly? The name of her chosen successor? A single letter that might have changed everything. So now, the question passes to you. What do you think was written in that final message? A revelation or a farewell? Let me know your theory in the comments below. And if you love strange, mysterious, and powerful stories from history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We have so much more to uncover. And remember, history always has secrets. It's just